2:41 hours, North Atlantic Ocean, 180 miles west of Ireland. In the pre-dawn darkness, the sea was calm, almost unnaturally so. But beneath those waves lay one of NATO's most critical assets, a high-capacity undersea fiber optic cable linking North America and Europe. It carried not just internet traffic, but encrypted military communications, intelligence feeds, and strategic data, the digital heartbeat of the Western Alliance. At 2:41 hours, sonar operators aboard a British maritime patrol aircraft detected an unusual acoustic signature, slow-moving, metallic, and emitting faint bursts of sonar pulses, not from a submarine, but from the surface. The signature matched a known vessel, the Yantar, a Russian oceanographic research ship. Officially. Unofficially, it was a spy ship, operated by the main directorate of deep-sea research, GUJI, Russia's secret naval intelligence branch. 02:47 hours, NATO Maritime Surveillance Center, Lisbon. A low chime echoed in the command room, unidentified vessel, grid 64 Delta, moving east at 5 knots, the watch officer reported. On the screen, a single red blip appeared, right above the cable route connecting the US and Ireland. Identity? Probable Russian Yantar-class. No AIS signal. AIS, the automatic identification system, is mandatory for all surface ships. When it's switched off, it usually means one thing: they don't want to be seen. Dispatch a P-8 Poseidon, ordered the duty commander. Visual confirmation required. 03:09 hours. P-8, a Poseidon patrol aircraft, call sign Falcon 2. The Poseidon sliced through the night sky, guided by satellite coordinates. Within 30 minutes, radar contact was confirmed. 54 degrees north, 16 degrees west. Infrared optics locked onto a slow-moving silhouette, illuminated only by faint deck lights. Falcon 2 to command. We have visual on the target. Confirmed Yantar-class configuration. No flag displayed. Roger, maintain altitude record and track. The images were transmitted live to NATO command. The ship's aft deck appeared busy. Cranes, containers, and what looked like a deep-sea submersible cradle being lowered into the water could be deploying a mini-sub, the pilot noted. The command room fell silent. That was the exact location of NATO's transatlantic fiber trunk Alpha line, 03:17 hours, inside the Yantar. Deep inside the Russian vessel, technicians in gray uniforms monitored sonar and telemetry feeds. Their target wasn't a submarine or a ship. It was a cable, the size of a garden hose, lying silently on the seabed at 3,000 meters depth. Using a remotely operated vehicle, ROVAS-37 Ruse, they maneuvered robotic arms toward the cable's junction box. Their mission: data tapping. A device no larger than a briefcase was being attached, capable of intercepting electromagnetic pulses from the fiber optic line without physically damaging it. A quiet, invisible act of espionage. 03:25 hours, NATO Command, Brussels. On the wall-sized display, the red marker representing Yantar remained stationary. No AIS, no radio, just sitting there, one officer said. Admiral Claire Moreau frowned. Atop a strategic comms cable. That's no coincidence. She turned to her deputy. Get me the British Navy. Task Group North Sea Watch. Within minutes, the HMS Richmond, a Type 23 frigate, was rerouted to intercept. But at sea, even hours matter. The Yantar wasn't waiting. 03:42 hours. Depth 2,950 meters underwater. ROV as 37 Rus hovered over the seafloor like a metallic insect. Through its camera, the shimmering fiber optic line stretched endlessly into darkness. The robotic arm extended. A soft click echoed through the control room as the interception module latched onto the cable. Connection stable, said the engineer. Signal capture initiated. For the next 7 minutes, encrypted pulses from NATO communication lines flowed silently into a Russian storage drive. No alarms, no interference. Above them, the Yantar drifted, a ghost ship in international waters. 03:50 hours, satellite relay, Tromsø, Norway. Norwegian satellites detected an electronic anomaly, a short-duration burst of encrypted VHF transmissions from Yantar's location duration, 2.3 seconds. Frequency, restricted military band. Within minutes, the data reached NATO's early warning system. A red icon flashed. Unauthorized deep-sea transmission, priority 1. The P-8 Poseidon was recalled for a a closer pass, 0358 hours above the target zone. Infrared sensors revealed movement on deck. The submersible cradle was being hoisted back up. Falcon 2 to command. They're recovering equipment. Operation seems complete. Copy that. Maintain distance. No provocation, came the order. But as the crew watched, the Yantar suddenly powered its engines, turning southeast, away from the cable route. A trail of wake rippled behind it as it accelerated to 8 knots. It was leaving. Mission accomplished. 0407 hours inside the Yantar. The ROV bay was silent except for the hum of machinery. On a steel table sat a sealed case marked Signal Module B-17. Inside, hours of intercepted data, a mosaic of NATO communications, encrypted pings, and acoustic fingerprints of nearby vessels. Commander Viktor Serov, the ship's captain, logged an encrypted entry. Operation successful. No detection. Begin return route to Murmansk. He didn't know he was wrong. They'd been detected the moment they surfaced. 0415 hours. NATO surveillance review, Lisbon. New course heading, 122 degrees southeast, speed 8 knots, the operator confirmed. Destination, likely Murmansk via Norwegian Sea. Admiral Moreau exhaled sharply, notify the Norwegians. If they cross into their EEZ, we shadow them. Moments later, Operation Deep Sentinel was activated, a multi-agency shadow mission involving British, Norwegian, and U.S. assets. Their goal? Follow the Yantar, gather proof, and prevent further cable interference. 0428 hours. Atlantic surface, HMS Richmond en route. The frigate cut through the waves, radars sweeping the horizon. Its crew had one image pinned to the ops board, a blurred infrared photo of the Yantar. Deck crane extended, submersible attached. Below it, a single line of text. Suspected undersea cable interference. Priority 1, surveillance. ETA 4 hours, reported the XO. The captain nodded. By then, they'll be long gone, but we'll have the trail. 0436 hours. Final transmission from the Yantar. A brief encrypted message was sent via satellite. Operation complete package secured. Begin data relay under ice route. Within seconds, the ship disabled all outgoing signals and re-enabled its AIS, transmitting a false destination, Kaliningrad. To the outside world, it was just another oceanographic vessel heading home. To NATO, it was the beginning of an invisible war, one fought through data, fiber, and silence. 0445 hours. NATO command. Log entry. Unidentified Russian vessel detected operating above NATO communication cable Alpha line. Possible data interception attempt evidence collection underway. The file was marked Classified Level 4. Only 3 people in Brussels would ever read the full report. 459 hours. As dawn broke over the North Atlantic, the Yantar vanished beyond radar range, leaving only traces of its slow, methodical mission. No missiles, no gunfire, just the soft whisper of propellers disappearing into fog. But beneath the waves, a small device now clung to NATO's lifeline, invisible, silent, and watching. The next 24 hours would expose the truth and ignite a digital confrontation unlike anything before. 0500 hours. North Atlantic Command Center, Brussels. The room was quiet, just the hum of computers and the steady sweep of radar lines. Admiral Claire Moreau stood over the operations map, eyes fixed on the red trace moving east. The Yantar has left the cable site, reported the watch officer. Good. Let them think we're still sleeping. She turned toward her aide. Activate Operation Deep Sentinel. I want proof before this goes public. Moments later, encrypted orders were transmitted to the HMS Richmond and a U.S. Navy P-8 patrol craft orbiting off Iceland. Their mission? Follow the Russian vessel, undetected, and confirm whether it had tapped NATO's communication lines. 0547 hours. Aboard HMS Richmond, rain lashed against the deck as the frigate cut through rough seas. On the ops table glowed a single target, Yantar, heading north by northeast, maintaining 8 knots. The captain briefed his crew. We'll stay in passive mode. No radar, no transmissions. The moment they slow down, we move closer. A sonar operator leaned in. Sir, they're towing something. Very faint acoustic drag signature. The captain nodded. Whatever they brought up, they didn't leave it behind. 610 hours. Underwater surveillance network, Norwegian Sea, hydrophone arrays, along the Norwegian continental shelf, picked up a distinct acoustic pulse. Brief, sharp, metallic. It wasn't a submarine or a torpedo. It was a signal beacon, one that NATO had secretly placed along its undersea cables to detect interference. An alert flashed across the system. Integrity breach, cable segment Alpha 12. The Yantar hadn't just tapped the cable, it had left something behind. 6:18 hours, NATO command, Lisbon. Analysts replayed the data in disbelief. The pulse pattern showed micro vibrations consistent with a foreign object attached to the cable's insulation layer. "Can we isolate its location?" Admiral Moreau asked.
"Yes, ma'am. Coordinates marked. Depth 3,020 meters.
"Then we recover it," she said flatly. "Under whose flag?" "No flag. This stays quiet." And so began a covert retrieval, Operation Sea Glass, to extract whatever the Russians had left before they could remotely erase it. 11:30 hours. NATO situation briefing, Brussels. Admiral Moreau summarized the findings. Russian Yantar-class vessel confirmed at cable grid. Deep sea attachment recovered and neutralized. No public disclosure authorized. Her closing words were brief. "The undersea battlefield has begun, and it's invisible." The official NATO communique later read simply, "Routine maritime surveillance operations were conducted in the North Atlantic, no incidents reported." But off the record, every admiral in the room knew better. 13:45 hours. Murmansk Naval Port, Russia. The Yantar docked quietly at berth 7. No flags, no press, only a convoy of unmarked vehicles waiting to offload a single steel container marked Scientific Data Logs. Inside was the hard drive containing the intercepted cable data, fragmented but valuable. In Moscow, analysts would spend months decoding it. In Brussels, cyber specialists were already rewriting encryption protocols for every NATO fiber channel. The race for information had left both sides silent, but not still. Weeks later, the cable segment at grid 64 Delta was fully replaced. The ocean returned to its eternal quiet, or so it seemed, because somewhere beneath the waves, hundreds of similar cables stretched for thousands of miles, each one a potential battlefield in a war no one would ever see. And the Yantar, its position remains unknown, but satellite archives show that once again, it disappeared into the Barents Sea. AIS turned off the Arctic, the Atlantic, the Pacific, all now part of a silent network of surveillance, power, and secrecy. In modern warfare, control isn't always about weapons or missiles. Sometimes it's about who listens first.